I want to talk about some of the unsung heroes for this Falcons team, especially after that dramatic comeback win against the Eagles. All eyes are, of course, on Bijan Robinson, Kirk Cousins, Drake London, but who are some of the players that are kind of flying under the radar a little bit that fans should know more about? So, with that being said, let's start with number one, Kaden Elliss. Kaden Elliss has definitely been an unsung hero for the heroic play, we'll call it, at the end of Monday Night Football against the Philadelphia Eagles, where we'll look at the film in a moment. He was a huge factor in forcing that game-sealing interception. So far, though, just 20 tackles, one huge QB hit on Jalen Hurts. So he has not been lighting up the box score with sacks, forced fumbles, interceptions, things like that. But I do think Kaden Elliss has shown us that he is a ferocious pass rusher. You can go back to his last year in New Orleans, 2022, 7 sacks. First year with the Falcons, 4 sacks. And I think we're going to see a lot of blitzes from this new Jimmy Lake, Raheem Morris defense. But for me, I want to take a closer look at what Kaden Elliss was able to do on that final play for the Eagles on Monday night. Look back at the film here for a second. Elliss, highlighted in yellow here, he's going to line up in between the left guard and the left tackle. All right, let's fast forward 1.5 seconds later. Kaden Elliss now has beaten two-time Pro Bowl left guard Landon Dickerson, who barely even got a fingernail on him, and he's going to light up Jalen Hurts, which is going to lead to an inaccurate pass picked off by Jesse Bates. But the average time to throw in the NFL is 2.5 seconds. Like, that's kind of the timer quarterbacks use for the ball needs to come out in 2.5 seconds. So if you're going to draw up a stunt play for Kaden Elliss, where he lines up over the left guard, but he's going to go all the way across the line of scrimmage and then line up over the right guard, and he's going to attack the left guard, you got to have a guy who's got some wheels. Like, there's not a lot of linebackers in the NFL that can get from point A to point B that quickly before the ball gets thrown. Because it's useless if you want to draw up all these super cool stunt plays, but ultimately the quarterback throws the ball before the pass rusher ever gets close to him, and it's just a waste of cardio. He's just running around the offensive line, but he's not getting anywhere near the quarterback in 2.5 seconds. But Elliss, he's a great enough athlete where you can put him over that right guard and right tackle and then have him bounce all the way over to the other side of the line of scrimmage and then get to the quarterback before the ball is released. For me, Kaden Elliss is encroaching in the territory of the "Who's That?" award. So every single season, I identify a "Who's that guy?" on a team. And basically what it means is whenever an opposing team and fan base comes to play a new team, they always seem to leave that game learning about a player that's not a perennial Pro Bowl or a household name, but he made a huge impact in the game. And they all leave going, all right, well, we knew Guy and Go and Jimmy and Joe were going to make big plays on us. But we didn't expect 55 for the Falcons to be lighting it up. Who's that? And by halftime, they are on the depth chart, on the roster, looking up, who is 55 for the Falcons? Who the fuck is Kaden Elliss? He's the one destroying our offense right now. So right now, I'm going to have Kaden Elliss as an early front runner for the "Who's That Guy?" award. Now, who do you think is the all-time underrated Falcons player? This is the pinned comment, so I want to see everyone scrolling down in the comment section and giving me an underrated Falcons player because the former 7th-round pick is making a good case for that right now. YouTube likes to put an ad break around this time, so if they do, take advantage of it, scroll on down, and give me a name. Unsung hero number 2. Let's go with cornerback Mike Hughes. Going into the season, we weren't exactly sure who would be starting opposite of A.J. Terrell, and people were a little bit uneasy. And by people, I mean me, when it comes to Mike Hughes, former first-round pick, starting outside corner when he never really latched on anywhere for the first couple of years of his career. But let's give credit where credit is due, and that is the former first-rounder. Now, before we talk more about Mike Hughes, I do want to fill everyone watching in about our great sponsor today, which is Factor. Fuel up with Factor's no prep, no mess meals. If you're trying to get into shape and you've got some wellness goals, we'll meet those goals with Factor's chef-crafted options like Calorie Smart, Protein Plus, and Keto. Factor's fresh, never frozen meals are dietitian approved and ready to eat in just 2 minutes. So no matter how busy you are, you'll always have time to enjoy nutritious, great tasting meals. In fact, at the start of this video, if you started the process for making a Factor meal in your microwave, you could have cooked it, eaten it, and then finished this entire ad read with me all in that short amount of time. And I think for people that are a little tight on time, whether you're busy at school or working, this is a huge plus, but you're not doing it wasting a lot of money and time in the drive-thru. You're getting great quality restaurant meals like filet mignon, shrimp, and blackened salmon, all for a very affordable price. And by the way, speaking of that price, head to factormeals.com/FalconsChat50 and use code FalconsChat50 to get 50% off your first box plus 20% off your next month. That's code FalconsChat50 at factormeals.com/FalconsChat50 to get 50% off your first box plus 20% off your next month while your subscription is active. Getting back to Mr. Hughes out of UCF, through 2 games so far, so not a huge sample size, but we're collecting some data points. He's been targeted 4 times, giving up 3 completions, but they've all been very short. 21 total yards, no touchdowns, 3 tackles for loss, by the way, so we're seeing a great run-stopping part of his game, which we'll expand on later on in the video here, and 1 pass breakup. But what really jumped out to me was the way he handled week 2. No A.J. Brown, so it's just Devontae Smith going up against A.J. Terrell for much of the game, but no one else for the Eagles really emerged as a viable pass threat, and that's largely because Mike Hughes put him on an island all night long. But it wasn't just his pass his pass coverage skill set that jumped out to me. The run stopping was great as well. But one of the biggest plays he made, I mean, if you go back to that Eagles matchup here, here's Mike Hughes at the goal line, crashing in on a receiver, breaking up a pass to avoid a touchdown. Or how about this play from earlier in the game? You've got D. Alford and Green going on a corner blitz. So Jalen Hurts recognizes this before the snap, so he immediately looks towards his tight end Dallas Goedert, because what do you do when the blitz comes? You throw into the blitz. But Mike Hughes, all the way over in yellow, he recognized this as well. He knows that he's kind of the help defender. And while usually you don't go to your corners for making big tackles in the open field against tight ends, Mike Hughes and the rest of the Falcons defense had no issue rallying around Dallas Goedert and forcing a 3rd down. So it's just little plays like that avoid giving up big chunks of yardage, which lead to scores. So Mike Hughes, I mean, he doesn't have a pick 6 or anything like that so far, but he's doing the little things right. He's keeping the offense, at bay and avoiding them from picking up big chunks of yardage on his half of the field or to his man. So I'm very impressed from what I've seen so far out of Mike Hughes. Him and Kaden Elliss have definitely jumped out to me in a really good way. And CB2 was definitely a position of concern going into the year because it was going to be so raw and untested and unproven, whether it was Clark Phillips or Journeyman Hughes, who went from the Vikings to the Chiefs to the Falcons. Now he's kind of finding a home in Atlanta's secondary, and hopefully he can continue his strong play into week 3. Now, if you are still hanging out with us here at the end of the video, you guys are my favorite people on this earth. So drop an ATL for me if you are still watching at the end of the video. That way I know who the end of the video crew is. So when I see you guys in the chat, there's a little bit of a wink here because at the end of the day, I know you're a part of the end of the video crew. Also, the Dirty Birds Club, Jose Santana, Ken Ballard, Trey 1222, Jason Landino, Reese Atkins, Archangel, Angry Liquid, Jeebus H. Christ, Dictator JC. Thank you guys so much for being such big supporters of the channel. And if you want to get a shout out all 2024 season long, $100 super chat during our week 3 watch party, and we'll add you to the club. That will do it for us on today's episode. I hope you guys enjoyed it. If you did, give us a like, a comment, share. There's a bunch of really good cliche YouTube things I can plug right now. But at the end of the day, it does help grow the channel immensely. So if you're still hanging out with us right now, I got to envision you somewhat enjoyed the video. Otherwise, you probably would have left a little while ago. So drop an ATL, like I said, but make sure to hit that like button and subscribe as well.